Hello and welcome to Margaret Stewart Artist and my incredibly messy studio and small. So I wanted to do a little bit of a video about palette boxes, palette and easel, push-out boxes, palettes, and other setups for plein air painting. I have a couple of setups in my house. I'm on the search for a small setup that works, that I can really carry things everywhere. So I have two setups here. There's a third setup called a pochade box, which basically has drawers in it and extra carrying places so that you could actually, in theory, take your paints, take your brushes, and take the substrates and have a palette set up right there and basically just walk away, just close the whole thing up and walk away, and it's all in one place. You might need to take your easel, of course, or your tripod, of course, so that you have a way to stand up, and let me talk about that for a second as well. So the first setup I have is my little wee Yugo plein air box, and so this is a very small thing. It's 6x8 setup, and it takes I think the biggest canvas you can really use nicely with it is a 6x12, and that's what I've got set up here. And you can see that it's on the thing. I've still got it wrapped just because it's an example, but when you take it off, these little guys slide up and down, and they will hold your canvas. And then here is a setup for your palette, and I've got some Velcro attached to that so I can put my palette garage on it and just walk away and put my paints nicely and save them for another day, the unused paints for another day. And then these two shelves here are removable, and you just put them in here, and they basically magnetize into place. And it shuts and the magnets hold. Now, the one thing I don't really like about this is that use my feet here, is that the magnets tend to mess with you in ways that you don't expect. So you'll be painting along and using a palette knife, and boom, the palette knife will go away from where you're trying to paint and right toward the magnet. The other thing I don't necessarily like about this is that the palette is small, so I tend to get more muddy paintings than I want. So that's something to think about. Some of the pochade boxes have ways to double the area of. They're about this size but a little deeper, and they have things that you can double the area of your palette. So I'm looking into those. I don't know quite how that's gonna work. It looks like Gorilla might have a nice box. The Edge Pro is another alternative to the Yugo, and it has a slightly different setup for holding your panels, and the palette area on the smaller one, the smallest Edge Pro is a good bit bigger, and so I'm also thinking about that one. So there's so many things to think about, and probably most plein air artists will tell you they've got so many setups that they don't know what to do. So, all right, so that is the Yugo, and I will set that aside. And this is I really love this setup. So this is my Prolific Painter Day Tripper, and every day tripper you order comes with this palette box, and it's super cool. So it's a plastic, I think it's plastic, it's acrylic palette that's been grayed out on the underside so you can really see your contrasts. And it has these trays on either side, and that holds brushes, etc. You can hang brush holders off of it. You can put your water there, since I'm using water miscible paint, and you just have a lot of room to work. And again, I've got Velcro here to hold my my palette garage. So yeah, you can see the little Velcro bits. And then these little guys come out and they hang against the against my tripod. So that is really cool, and it closes up into a nice flat, super thin thing that fits well into my, fits nicely into my my backpack. And I can also, there's also a, it comes with a cord you can also put paper towels on. So that I really like. You can get, and then the strut that goes with it, you can get in different sizes. So this is the shorter crossbars, and you can get different styles of the long bar. The one thing to note here is that on the back, what you'll need is that universal fitting for whatever your tripod is. And then these just unscrew and you can move them around. You can, as you see, this can hold a fairly large panel. So this is a 9x12. Works really well. It's nice and sturdy. And you can see this is incredibly well loved. I've used it a lot. And I really do like it, especially if your tripod is super sturdy. Sometimes if the tripod isn't, it kind of wobbles and then you get annoyed. But those are my two things. I don't have a Pochade box to share with you, but this is just a good way to get started and understand what things are. Also, the Yugo you can pretty much buy from Dick Blick's or Jerry's or Plaza. The Day Tripper you need to order from them, prolificpainter.com, and they are slow. Very good quality, but they build each of these by hand for you. So that would be the one drawback. It's taken quite a long time to get this, and I was so glad to see it, but it was a long time. All right, thank you. That is it for this video. Bye-bye.